dressing is so simple, but it has a lot of steps to it. And you're probably thinking she's a lot of steps and simple, but it is simple. And I tell you, it's gonna be the best dressing you've ever tasted. So I want you to watch me do this, and you can accomplish this in your own kitchen. First of all, we're gonna make the cornbread, okay? And the cornbread is really simple. I use 2 different types of meal. I use a yellow corn meal, then I use something I'm sure that everybody has in their kitchen cabinet, Jiffy Mix. So we start off with 1 cup of regular cornmeal, 1 box of Jiffy Mix. Now this is going to be enough for maybe a family of 6. If you want more, you would have to double the recipe. 2 boxes of Jiffy Mix, 2 cups of the yellow cornmeal. But I'm cooking for a smaller family, so I got 1 and 1. To this, we're gonna use 2 eggs. And always remember 2, because 1 is for the cornmeal and 1 is for the Jiffy Mix. So that'll be easy. Even if you double the recipe, always stick to the 2 eggs. Okay, and to this, we're gonna add milk. Now I start off with like 2/3 of a cup, because you can always add more. You want to make this like the consistency of a pancake mix. And to this, I add vegetable oil. Now the secret to the cornbread, you want to make it very moist. You need to have vegetable oil. I use maybe a tablespoon or maybe more. So let's try 2 tablespoons. We're gonna mix this together. Remember the consistency you're looking for? It's like a pancake mix, so just get it good and mixed. Sometimes I use a hand blender, but for this you really don't need it. It's not a cake. It's not going to be seen anywhere. We're making a dressing with it, a cornbread dressing. But you do want to beat it until you get all the lumps. So you do want to stir it really good. You want to get a lot of those lumps out of here. So that's a really good. I need this, the consistency is very well. No more milk is needed. I'm just trying to whip a lot of those lumps out from the mill. You know, you could be smart. You can use a shifter. And you probably won't have to work this hard. Okay, but I tell you, once it starts baking in the oven, and because you broke it up a little bit, it's gonna cook through. And to this, I want to spray my pan to the sides. Make sure you get it all sprayed down. And we're gonna add the batter. We're gonna put this in the oven at 375 for maybe 30 minutes. But you'll know when it's done because it's going to turn a golden brown. It's going to bake. Then I'm going to go to my step 2, preparing the cornbread dressing. While the cornbread is baking, I like to start cutting up my vegetables next. We're going to start with the onion. We got the Holy Trinity here. We're going to start with our onion. You're going to chop it up. And for those of you who don't have a vegetable chopper or just a food processor, you might have to chop it by hand, which is fine. It just takes a little more time. But me, I like to put everything in this Ninja. So I start by chopping up my onions. Okay, and I get a bit of head start for the Ninja because I'm going to put as much as I can over in this Ninja. So once I get these chopped up, and you know what? I use a whole onion, a medium-sized onion. Okay, so the more dressing you're making, you have to double the recipe. Oops, overboard. Gotcha. So I'm just giving it a rough chop. Okay, next we're gonna start with our celery. So we're gonna chop this up, put it in a Ninja or your food processor, or you could chop it by hand. I use 2 to 3 celery stalks. It depends on how much celery you like in your dressing. I'm not a big celery person, but I know I need it in there, so because you want to taste it. Once upon a time, I didn't have this, and I would stand here and I would chop everything as fine as I could. Just took a little longer. This is just a little faster, but it's the same effect. And you're gonna use a small bell pepper, not a big one, not a huge one. Alright, I'm gonna take this, mix it with the rest of it. So we have everything in the bowl, the Trinity. We have our onions, we have our celery, and now we have the bell pepper. What I like to put in my dressing is chicken gizzards. And what I did was I took chicken gizzards. These are chicken gizzards, and I boiled them, or you can put them in a slow cooker, which I really did. I put them in a slow cooker overnight and let them get real tender because they take a while to get tender. And I do these and give them a rough chop, just like I did the vegetables, because I'm putting them over in that Ninja. So I use the seasoning. I season them with poultry seasoning, salt, and just black crushed pepper. And for the liquid, I use a chicken broth. And I'm gonna save all that liquid that came from this because I need that liquid to go inside of the cornbread mix to complete the dressing. Now we're gonna cut up the cornbread. It's cooled off, so we're gonna cube it up. Try to make as small cubes as you can. If I'm big mixing bowl, you need a large mixing bowl. Let's take it out of here. See, I cubed up. I want it to cube up. That's what I want to do. The cornbread, put it all in the mixing bowl. Okay, once you get everything in the bowl, you're gonna start with your liquids. I want to wet it down a little bit. So I'm gonna use a little of the liquid that I had left over from the gizzards. Just wet it up a little bit because we want to soften it up. Then I'm gonna use vegetable stock, chicken stock, turkey stock, whatever you have. Shake that up a little bit. I'm gonna wet it some more. This is my secret. Cream of corn. Cream of celery. Cream of chicken. Remember, 2 cans. Cream of celery. Now I'm going to mix the cornbread with the creamy ingredients. All mixed up. That's why you need a big bowl, because you want to mix it real good. This, we want to add sage. You gotta have sage. You cannot make dressing without sage. Okay, so you gotta have the sage. Now, to the dressing, just like my sweet potato pie, I cover the top. Okay, then you want to use black pepper, cracked black pepper. Sprinkle it around the top. A little more. Depending on how much black pepper you like. Onion powder. Sprinkle it, cover the top, because you can always taste it And if you gotta add more, you add more. I add garlic powder. Not a whole lot of garlic powder. And you gotta have poultry seasonings. Okay, cover the top. Okay. Now we're gonna mix this. Because I might have to re-season it once I add my Trinity and my gizzards. So it's gonna all be to taste. Oh, you can smell the sage, you can smell everything. It smells wonderful. Okay, here we go. Now we're gonna add the rest of our mixture. You remember the juice that was left over from the Trinity? So we have some more liquid in here. You can see that liquid? Mix it all together. Make this open at night, right before big dinner. Put it in the fridge and let it all sit. Cover it. And it all just go through. Or you can make the day before. But the longer it sits before you bake it, the better the taste will be. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is, I wanna taste this. You see how I mixed everything together? You don't even see that cornbread anymore. You can't see it. Make sure you bring it from the bottom because you wanna get it all incorporated. So you need a real heavy spoon. I'll break that cornbread up. Now what I wanna do is I wanna taste this to see how's it tasting. It's good. But for me, I want a little more sage. A little more poultry seasoning. Yeah, you notice I didn't add any salt to this. Remember I told you when I cooked the gizzards, I added salt to the gizzards, so we really don't need it. And I'm adding a little more crushed pepper. And don't forget all your canned ingredients you added, all the creamy soups you put in here, they all had salt in it also. So you really don't need salt, but you could taste it. If you think you need salt, add a little salt, but you really don't need it. Once you get it here in the pan, make sure your oven is preheated to 375. We're gonna cover it with foil. Sunny side down. Now let this bake covered for 30 minutes. Now remember your cornbread is cooked. We gotta cook the vegetables, we gotta cook the soup, we want it all to incorporate. So we're gonna cover it, bake it for 30 minutes. Once it bakes for 30 minutes, we're gonna take the foil off and we're gonna let it bake for another 15 to 20 minutes. Our dressing is done. Now we're going to take it out the oven. It's going to be a crisp golden brown. Now we're going to cut it and we're going to serve it. Here it is. The dressing is complete. You can serve it with the dab of cranberries. Now it's time to eat. I hope you enjoy your cornbread dressing and your roasted hen, and pour yourself a glass of wine. Enjoy.